Today we are in Funchal Madeira and we've come to Blandys, one of the most historic, oldest, most traditional Madeira wine producers on the whole island. I'm really looking forward to this tour. We're going to find out how it's made, how it's aged, and then most excitingly, we're going to get to taste a few of them. So super excited, let's go.
The first Blandy, his name was John Blandy. He was originally from Dorset, United Kingdom. He came here to our island in 1808. He established the Blandys as a company in 1811, and this building that we are today, the building from the 16th century, Mr. Blandy bought this building in 1838.
Wow, it's smelling this, man.
So all of these barrels that you see in here are filled with wine. That's why you can only come here with me. We have in here 700,000 liters of wine in this building. But we own another building in the east side of the island, and then we keep it the other 3 million liters of wines.
Blandys produces nearly 4 million litres of wine a year. They're the biggest Madeira wine producer on the island by far. Many years ago they were losing wine from the barrels through evaporation, but they didn't know why it was happening. They thought it was thirsty angels drinking the wine, so the part that's lost is now known as the angel's share.
So they thought that it was angels jumping from one barrel to another barrel and drinking the wine.
These thirsty angels can drink up to 15% of the wine from the barrels each year.
This is the one that has minimal 18% of alcohol, maximum 22% of alcohol. I don't know anyone that has a meal with a wine that has 22% of alcohol. For sure you don't finish the meal.
Madeira wine is a fortified wine. They add extra alcohol to kill the yeast and stop the fermentation. In the past, they used to add local Madeiran white rum, but now they use a distilled grape spirit instead. This spirit's 96% alcohol. The dry and the medium dry wines are usually drank as an aperitivo before a meal, and the sweet and medium sweet wines are delicious as dessert wines.
After the harvest, we separate the grapes. After separating the grapes, we press to have the juice, and then when we have the juice, we put inside of tanks to start the fermentation. The fermentation process is when we heat the grape juice. By heating the grape juice, we'll create an yeast. The yeast will eat the sugar and it will convert the sugar into alcohol. If we want to produce a sweet wine, we need only 2 days of fermentation. If we want to produce a dry wine, we might need 6 days of fermentation. After that, when we have the wines that we wanted, we have to stop this process. We have to kill the yeast, because the yeast is responsible for the fermentation. And here on the island, we kill the yeast with extra alcohol. There's an easier way to kill the yeast, lowering the temperature of the wine. Here we do it the harder way. We add an extra alcohol that is so strong that will kill everything. This alcohol, it used to be the sugarcane rum, but it's not anymore. What we add to our wines now, it's a grape alcohol. This alcohol has 96% proof. After adding the alcohol, we will divide it in 2 aging systems. There's an artificial aging process and there's as well a natural aging process. The natural aging process is what you see it in here. The wine's aging completely natural. Month per month, there's someone that comes here and checks the qualities of the wine. The wine has to stay in there inside of those barrels for a minimum of 5 years. Minimal, maximum 100 years. The reason why we keep the Madeira wine here closed for so many years is because this wine only ages here. Once the Madeira wine is inside of the bottle, never ages anymore. So you can buy a 20-year-old wine, you can keep it for 30 years, the wine is always going to be 20. The bottles of this wine, there's no expiry date for this wine, so you can keep it the years as you wish. And the bottles of this wine, we keep it always upright. We never keep a bottle of Madeira wine laid down, because the acidity of the wine will destroy the cork. After you open a bottle of Madeira wine, you have 1 year to drink that wine. Not 1 day, but 1 year. Because this wine, when it was evaporating, it was having contact with the oxygen. So it is a pre-oxidized wine.
The smell in the last room was amazing. You could really smell all the flavours of the Madeira wine, like that burnt caramel bit. You come in here, the smell's completely gone, and it's a little bit cooler in there. The lady was saying it's because these guys are completely solid wood, so you don't get any evaporation, so you don't get those smells coming out. I'm gonna go for medium dry first. Beautiful colour.
Medium dry and
Oh, that smells good. Definitely a bit of sweetness there.
to wącha niż w zapachu, czy gdzie to jest słodsze?
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, that's really nice. It's a lot more delicate than some of the ones that we've been having in some cafes and restaurants. Yeah, nice acidity. Not too sweet, but just a touch of sweetness. Taste of kind of burnt caramel flavour. Wow, absolutely delicious. I love that one. Now, I'm gonna go for the sweeter one. A Malmsey. Shakespeare's favourite wine, apparently. A little bit darker in colour, this one.
To jest zadycha, tam to drugie.
It looks beautiful. Much sweeter, yeah, really noticeably sweet. So I think this one's actually served as a dessert wine. So you wouldn't have this with any savoury food. You might have this with some of the local sweet honey cake. Oh, it's beautiful. Much sweeter, much more of a dessert wine, yeah. Actually got honey flavours, yeah, although it's not anything to do with bees. It's got honey flavours, caramel, like the fresh, sweeter, lighter sort of caramel. Not overly sweet. Yeah, it's just delicious. Really, really nice. I think personally I prefer the medium dry. But the sweet one is still delicious. It's definitely Ida's favourite. That was a fantastic tour. Delicious wine. Really, really enjoyed that. Madeira wine is such an important part of the history of this island. Especially in the UK, if you say just the word Madeira, people immediately think of the wine. Absolutely delicious. All made locally. Local, really interesting grapes that only come from these islands. It's a must try if you're in Madeira. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm off to the shop to buy a couple of bottles. That was so good.